Hey there. Welcome to the adventure. Well, hopefully not much of an adventure, more like a relaxing overnighter down here by the creek. I've got a few things to say in a minute. Glad to have you along. I said in January when I made my last video, and if you hadn't seen it, you should certainly go to my YouTube channel. Just search Sydney Hornblower, look for Redlands Ramble, watch that video. I'm right proud of it. It's a good one, I think. Anyway, I said when I made my last video that I was coming off the trail for a while to deal with some medical issues, but I would be back. It's June 2017, and I'm more or less back. I'm going to talk about some things really briefly, only once, and then be done with it. Some of you already know this, but what had happened was back in November, I had a mass removed from the side of my neck, about the size of a ping pong ball. Pathology on it came back, squamous cell carcinoma, cancer. So I asked the doc, I said, all right, I'm a quality guy, you know, used to risk assessment and that kind of thing, so let's talk about the alternatives. What if we just, you've already operated, you know, maybe you got it all. What if we don't do anything? And he said, you'll be dead in 3 years. Okay. Now I know what's behind door number 1. Let's not go there. How about door number 2? Door number 2 was chemotherapy and 7 weeks of daily radiation to the head and neck. And all I got to say about that experience is if you think you're tough, try that regimen. It will humble you. It did me. But I came out of it more or less intact. Got a few things still to deal with, some damage to my jaw and that sort of thing, a lot of weight loss. I'm trying to gain weight. And I got a whole lot of new camping and hammock gear out of it. How do you get hammock gear from a cancer diagnosis? Well, here's how I did it. I used it as an incentive to myself to make it through the treatment so that at, say, 5 weeks of radiation, I was feeling pretty poorly, and I said, if I make it through 5 weeks of radiation, I'm going to get me a Shug shirt. I got me a Shug shirt. I sort of had to get the hat because once you've had cancer, Mr. Sun is no longer your friend. So big floppy hats and lots of sunblock from now on. I also came out of it with a Warbonnet Ridge Runner hammock, which is really going to be for my wife, but I'm sleeping in it tonight. First time I've ever slept in a Ridge Runner, and I'm testing it out for her. Aren't I lucky? Or she's lucky to have me to test a hammock for her. Not all husbands would test a hammock for their wives. I'm just that kind of guy. Where was I? Oh yeah, and to incentivize myself to make it through the treatments on some of my low days, I got a few other things. I ended up with a Jacks or Better Hudson River top quilt and a few other odds and ends, some of which I may show you on this trip, some of them I'll show you on later trips. I don't have the Hudson River with me because it's June and it's Georgia, and you don't need a Hudson River top quilt in June in Georgia. In fact, I'm sitting here with my feet in the stream and I'm still sweating a little bit. But that's it. That's all I want to say about that. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. Other than the big floppy hat makes me look goofy, doesn't it? No fair if you say I already look goofy without the hat. You know, it does occur to me I should probably tell you that I'm done with the treatment, and the PET scan that I had a few days ago says good news. So hopefully I'm out of the woods, live the rest of my life hiking, kind of like this. Time to get a little water in the Sawyer. Let's fill up the bag. Screw the filter on. Pop the cap. Grab your empty, and as the name implies, squeeze. It's a little hard to get to this spot, but man is it pretty. I ought to camp here more often. And now that we've poured the boiling water in the bag, we're going to have Backpacker's Pantry stroganoff sauce with beef and noodles as we listen to the stream in the background and sit on the edge of the Warbonnet Ridge Runner. Time to eat. I'll talk to you after I eat. And finally, to top off the night, a Milky Way Mini or something, 100 calories. Wow, a whole 100 calories. Anyway, Milky Way Mini for dessert. Then it's teeth brushing time, and then I'm gonna lay back in the hammock, put the bug net up, because there's bugs in Georgia in June. Who'd have thunk it? And probably read a book. Yeah, I know. I live an exciting life, right? Morning. Let's get the stove lit and the coffee water on. About 63 degrees. It's about 5:30 in the morning. Went ahead and got on up. I got to tell you, that Warbonnet Ridge Runner, that's a comfortable hammock. 63 degrees this morning, a little bit cool. Coffee's gonna taste good. Let's see, let's get it situated, and I'll be back to you after the water boils. You know, after I had my breakfast of 2 cups of coffee, a cup of hot chocolate, 2 bowls of grits, I got nowhere to go and nowhere in particular to be. So I think I'm gonna get back in the hammock for a while and just listen to the creek. Oh, else what's the point of coming out here if you don't enjoy it, right? Before I forget, at least one more piece of gear that I rewarded myself with, and this one doesn't cost all that much. And if I could remember who makes this, I would tell you, but I don't see a maker's name on it, and I can't remember. But it looks like this. And I used this last night while I was lying in the hammock reading my book until like 9 or 9:30 last night. That's the right pretty spot. Glad I came, but it's time to walk on out of here. So let's walk. Okay, I've got to get across, so I'm going to try walking across that. If this is the last thing you see on the video, that means I didn't make it. Oh, come on, be real. If I didn't make it, how are you seeing the video? I'm not going to try that. I'm not that stupid. Well, maybe I am that stupid, but I'm not going to try it anyway. Looks like, and it is, the road. Good deal. Now we just go that way, back to the car. Oh, I'm walking up out of here. One thing that's on my mind, about the only piece of gear that didn't live up to what I expected of it was, oddly enough, my Sawyer filter. I've had the Sawyer Mini for about 2 years now. And they say it'll do some ungodly amount of water, like 100,000 gallons or something. I've put nowhere near that much through it, but apparently what I've put through it has been a lot of turbid water, because my Sawyer squeeze has become more like the Sawyer death grip. I could barely get any flow at all despite back flushing the thing, so I might have just used up all the goodie in it. So time to think about another water filter. I think I'll go with the regular Sawyer squeeze next time and not the Mini. And the weight penalty's what, half an ounce or something difference between them, with the flow rate on the regular Sawyers so much better than the Sawyer Mini. So that's it. That was just on my mind while I was walking out. That's it. Let's go. Well, near the end, at least of this trip, June 2017 took me 6 months to get back out on the trail, and I'm glad I did. Cautious, simple, gear testing, not a lot of walking, overnighter to get back in the groove. And it won't be the last one. I'll bring you along with me on some of them. In the meantime, why don't you go hiking? If I can do this, anybody can. See ya.